If you're a Gibson purist or a vintage guitar lover, look away now. In today's episode, we check out a Gibson Les Paul Access with a Floyd Rose tremolo. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Hello guitarists, welcome back to Squealing Pig Guitars, the home of luxury shred machines here in Nottingham, England. My name is Ben Keightley and today is the start of a brand new week here at SPG. It's Monday, so I thought I'd kick off the week with a bit of a scary guitar for the Gibson purists. This is a 2018 Gibson Les Paul Access with a Floyd Rose tremolo, and this is definitely a head turner of a guitar. It's finished in olive drab green, which is one of my favourite finishes that Gibson do. They did it on the Chris Cornell signature, which is a killer guitar, which I'd love to get in at some point. And if you know me personally, you'll know that I have a bit of an obsession with olive green. It's just a colour that I really like, and I do have a bit of an affinity for green guitars in general. I own a Gibson Green Widow, which is awesome, from 2012 with the rosewood fingerboard, and I think that's one of the coolest guitars ever made. So when this guitar came in, the first thing I thought was that the Gibson purists are gonna hate this guitar. Obviously, it has a Floyd Rose tremolo, it has the modern contours of the Access body, it's also a weight-relieved guitar. So many sacrilegious appointments that Gibson purists are gonna hate. Personally, I like how Gibson are, propelling the Les Paul into different markets. This is going to be a great shredded guitar, a great metal guitar. For me personally, it's not really specs I'd like to go for on a Gibson Les Paul, but I do think it's very cool. So it's going to make for an interesting episode today. So without further ado, let's grab the case and see what we get with a 2018 Gibson Les Paul Access. So I've got the guitar all lined up on the sofa here. It comes in a vintage reissue case, which is quite interesting. So this is a Lifton case, but it's the modern style with the 5 big latches like these. I've pretty much opened all the latches, so we should be good to go. So shield your eyes if you're a Gibson purist, but inside we've got a Gibson Les Paul with a Floyd Rose tremolo, and this is what they call their Access series, which means it's a slimmed down LP style guitar. It has a belly carve, a heel contour, and there's the awesome apex head carve. That's so cool. But it's always so funny seeing a Floyd Rose on a Gibson guitar. It's absolutely crazy, this spec. Obviously got the 490R, 498T humbuckers, and we have coil splitting on this one, so it's everything that the purists will hate. But I think it looks really cool. I love the olive drab finish, but for me, I love the way this guitar looks. I think the olive drab finish really complements the black hardware and the ebony fingerboard really nicely. It would be a perfect stage guitar for a metal player. But we'll get into the specs momentarily. Let's just open up this middle partition to see what we get inside. So we have the Gibson Custom COA. We have a polish cloth, we have the tag about the Floyd Rose and saying it's authentic. We've got some additional springs and block of the tremolo. We have some strap locks, and we have the tremolo bar. So now that we've opened up this weird and wonderful Les Paul, let's go to the Spec Talk. Before I get into the demo of this crazy guitar, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're new. If you enjoy these videos, hit the like button and comment your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and let's get straight back into it. So guys, now it's time to go over the specs of this very weird and wacky Gibson Les Paul Access. It's a 2018 model and it comes in one of my favourite colours ever, which is olive drab green. And if you know me personally, you know in my flat that a lot of my furniture is this colour, as I absolutely adore it. So it's a great colour, it's a very heavy colour. It has a little bit of a kind of orange peely look, but I think that's just because of how thick the paint is on this guitar. But it's an Access body, so that basically means it's slightly slimmed down Les Paul. It's also weight relieved. We have this belly contour, we have the heel contour, so you can access the upper frets. We then have the apex head carve, which I think is one of the coolest things that Gibson has ever done. Essentially, it's a volute, meaning that they're adding extra mass to the back of the headstock, meaning that it's less prone to snapping. But it's also just so stylish and looks really cool on this guitar. Obviously, a very modern take on the Gibson Les Paul. The main thing that's got the Gibson purist screaming is the Floyd Rose tremolo, which is in this black finish. We then have the locking unit at the nut. We then have the 490R 498T humbucker set, again in open coil black with the black surrounds. It looks pretty cool. We also have push-pull pots on this one, so you can split these coils down. It's also a weight relief body, again, which the Gibson purists are going to hate. That's a mahogany weight relief body with a maple top. We then have a mahogany neck with a kind of modern slim taper, but it feels more like a D to me, and it feels very wide. I don't know if they were experimenting with a new profile on this one, but it feels a little bit like an ESP guitar, if I'm being honest. Say, for example, I was blindfolded and I had to feel this neck and guess what brand it was. The last brand I would pick would be Gibson. Nothing about this is Gibson. It's a very, D-shaped neck, and it's very wide. We have the white binding with the black side dots, and then we have an ebony fingerboard on this one with the pearloid block inlays, which look incredible. Obviously, we have the tuxedo appointment, so we have the split diamond inlay with the Gibson logo, all in mother of pearl. We also have the 7-ply binding on the top, but we don't have any binding on the back, as this is an access model. We do have the nice kind of 5 plies of binding on the headstock, though. We have blacked out tuners. These are the Grover Kidney Bean Rotomatic tuners, and the back is stamped with Gibson Custom, as this is obviously a Gibson Custom Shop guitar from 2018. And that's pretty much everything that I've got to tell you. It's still a 24.75 inch scale length, as we still have 22 frets. So it has that kind of traditional Gibson feel to it. Obviously, it looks like a Les Paul, but then it's mixed with all these modern specs, which is just going to make the Gibson purist squirm. But that's all the specs of this guitar. So without further ado, let's warm up the 2-rock and put this guitar through its paces. So guys, now it's time for the tone demonstration of this Gibson Les Paul Axis. For today's episode, I'm using my usual rig, which is a 2-rock Bloomfield drive. For the intro to today's video, I had the lead gain channel on and I boosted it into overdrive using the Kemper effects, in which I have a tube screamer on the floor. And then I have the reverb from Flammer, the FS02, with a kind of like a room 2-hole reverb. It's a room reverb just with a lot of length. But in that intro of the video, I was on the bridge pickup and just playing that kind of iconic Megadeth riff. So let's... So I must warn you before I proceed with the tone demonstration that I don't like Floyd Roses, and I rarely play guitars with Floyd Roses on. So my Floyd Rose ability is pretty appalling, I must say. I haven't played one in quite a long time. I used to own an Ibanez, and I used to play Floyd Roses quite a lot. But the most I can do is pretty much the dive bomb type of stuff, or flutters, which I do actually think is a really nice sound for. Kind of getting that John Petrucci sound. I'm a big fan of the flutters, and I think they can actually be used in a very kind of emotional way in a solo. But don't worry, I won't use the Floyd Rose too much, as I don't want to give you all a headache. But it does stay in tune really nicely. Of course, the Floyd Rose system is a double locking system, so it does stay in tune really nicely. Obviously, you have the locking nut here. You also have the black Grovers, which are going to stay in tune a lot better than like a vintage style Gibson tuner. Obviously, this guitar is very modern feeling. If you're a big fan of ESP, Jackson, them guitars with a very kind of molded feel. This guitar is going to feel very nice to you. It's got a nice wide D-shaped neck. It probably feels a little bit fatter than an ESP, but it has a very modern feel to it. This does not feel like a Gibson at all. And thanks to the heel carve, you can obviously play some ridiculous licks there. I haven't shredded in so long, this is so fun. So let's hear some more riffs on that bridge pick. Now let's hear the neck pickup. So this guitar isn't just a rock guitar. Obviously, it is a Les Paul at the end of the day. It might be shrunk down a little bit and made more modern, but it does have some coil splits. So let's clean up the amp a little bit, get it a bit more relaxed, and let's play some clean stuff and see how the guitar reacts. So I'm on the clean channel now, so let's hear the humbucker and the single coil tones. This is the humbucker neck. Very nice. Let's hear the middle position, both in humbucker mode. end of today's video, I'm going to do a loop inspired by a Post Malone track. It's off his new country album called What Don't Belong to Me. So let's get jamming. So guys, that is the end of the video. I really hope you've enjoyed checking out this monstrosity of a Gibson Les Paul. Of course, all jokes aside, I do think this guitar is really cool. It's just not, for me, spec-wise. I love the colour though, and I love the appointments, and I think this guitar, if it was on my wall, I would love to cherish it. For me, I'm just not a big fan of Floyd Rose guitars, and the neck shape wasn't for me. However, if I had to do like a made-to-measure, I would love to get a guitar in this finish, but like a standard Les Paul custom, so with the thicker body, no Floyd Rose. I think that would be one of the coolest guitars I've ever seen, and I've never seen an olive drab Les Paul custom, I don't think. But if you can find one on the internet, make sure to leave me a link down below and I'll check it out. But yeah, my personal review on this guitar, I'm going to give this guitar a 6 out of 10 for today's episode, purely because of my personal playability of this guitar. I'm not talking about the Floyd Rose, I'm talking about the neck shape. It was a very modern carve, and for me, I'm more of a fan of a 59 or a 58 profile, so the complete opposite, more rounded, thicker, and narrower. But the main reason I'm giving it a bit of a lower rating is I felt like I couldn't express myself as much as I usually can on a Gibson Les Paul. I felt a little bit stunted because the specs just didn't really work for me. I found it quite hard to bend on this guitar. I found it hard in my hand placement as well because the Floyd Rose arm was getting in the way, and then when I tried to do tap harmonics, the pickup selector was in the way. It just wasn't that ergonomic of a guitar for me. As I said, I much prefer a standard Les Paul. I'm not a massive fan of Floyd Roses. However though, there's lots of positives of this guitar. The coil splits were very nice, very genuine sounding, and I'd like to see Gibson use more coil splitting functionality on their guitars in the future. They have some of the best coil split tones, much better than PRS in my opinion. When I was doing the Post Malone tune, I really liked the kind of capabilities of being able to split down the pickups, especially for looping, as you can add them different layers of texture in a lot better. Also, these 490R and 498T pickups sounded really good in this guitar, and I really enjoyed playing it. Also, the quality of materials on this guitar is sublime. The ebony is so dark, and the mother of pearl has a really nice kind of hue to it. So it's a very high-end guitar indeed. But for me, it was the playability of this guitar that kind of let it down a little bit. But that is my opinion today, guys. 6 out of 10 for the Gibson Les Paul Access 2018. Let me know in the comment section below if you own any Gibson Access models. I know they did an Access with like a kind of standard Tune-o-matic and stop tailpiece, but most of them that I've seen. And most importantly, guys, leave a like rating if you've enjoyed this video. It really helps us increase engagement on these videos. Hit the subscribe button if you're new, and smash the notification bell to be notified when we make a new video. I upload daily, Monday to Friday. But as always, guys, thank you so much for joining me today to review this Gibson Les Paul. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of it. But I will see you tomorrow for another episode, and thank you so much for watching Squealing Pig Guitars. That leaves me with one last thing to say. Keep rocking, guys. I'll see you soon.